Hey, how's it going, guys? It's time for another Season 4 character discussion. Joining with me is Mir. How's it going, man?
All good, man.
Okay, we're hitting a lot of characters, but now I think we should change it up and talk about, recently released characters, like Sagat. So that's going to be the topic. Sagat was the last character to come out in Season 3 next to G. And, after he came out, he was kind of lukewarm at best. People are saying he's around mid, even low mid tier right now as a character. We haven't really seen too many pro players use him, except for Bonchan, of course, who's been doing okay with him. But even Bonchan himself doesn't feel like the character is really that strong in general. So there's a lot of work they can do on the character. I'm sure Capcom was playing safe with him because the Sagat, the way his tools work, and actually what keeps him as a mid-tier character are actually very strong. His fireball and his uppercut itself. That Street Fighter style, that character, gives him a lot of mileage just on that, despite all of his weaknesses. And like I said, the way Capcom, they could have made that character really strong if they wanted to. They're playing it safe.
Yeah, for sure. It's just that the character feels very honest. Like, it doesn't have anything that can be obviously abused.
Yeah. So he's not terrible, but like you said, he's just honest overall. So weaknesses, there's definitely a ton of weaknesses with the character. I'll start listing those off, and then we'll hit the wish list here. So first off, Sagat has huge issues when the opponent has a very high life lead on him. Like, he has absolutely nothing to chase the opponent with and get back on him. Like, if let's say someone gets a huge life lead on Guile, for example, Guile doesn't care at all. He can just throw a very slow, light sonic boom and use that to protect himself as he closes in the opponent. Sagat doesn't have anything like that. If he throws a slow tiger shot, it's still too fast, for example. And just the way his V triggers work, how slow his tiger knee is, he's just screwed basically. And he just has to do a random tiger Kara uppercut or something. He has low rewards on his anti-airs, which is like the main part of his game, is to anti-air you and get around his zoning. So, and another thing too, Mir, you were mentioning that the ones that do a lot of damage, his anti-airs, they're just too slow.
Yeah, for hard kick, for example, is not something that you can realistically use on reaction. It's just too slow for that. It's something that you maybe throw out if you sniff out a jump, and then if you manage to get the air hit, you can do an uppercut afterwards, and that's some pretty good damage. But it's just like too impractical to use. Right. Like reactively, like I said, and when you DP someone, they're put at this awkward range where it's not close for Oki, but it's not even far enough for throwing a fireball out safely, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're at this awkward range where you don't know what to do, basically.
You can't even get a V skill
hurts
out.
a lot.
Yeah. Can't even get an angry scar out. It's really awkward. Yeah, it's really strange. And there are characters with anti-airs that make you fly across the screen. So once again, I'm sure Capcom was just playing it safe on that because they didn't know how strong his zoning would actually be. And another thing is he's got really slow normals in general. It's very sluggish, and that's fine. But it's just the payoff of these slow normals is it's not really good. And his dash is so slow, Mir. I think it's 21 frames. His dash.
Also, it's animated in a way where the dash clearly ends, and then there's some additional recovery frames.
Yeah.
So it's really easy to see. That's basically what happens.
Yeah, and that's part of the problem once again on Sagat, having issues when the opponent has a very high life lead on him. And don't forget, Sagat's jump is horrible as well. He's got a horrible jump. They definitely don't want the Sagat player to jump at the opponent, to dash into the opponent. They want him to just be a tank basically, and then zone the opponent. But the thing is that once you get on Sagat, he's basically screwed. So if you have him have really bad normals too at the same time, and it's like, okay, why do I want to play Sagat when I could just play Akuma or Guile, for example? Yeah, right? It makes no sense.
Especially when his light normals don't really help him build that space that well, because standing light kick is good, but it's 5 frames.
Yeah.
And standing light punch, which would be a really useful tool for pushing opponents out.
Yeah.
It does whip on crouchers when you're far away.
Yeah.
So you cannot even use that reliably either to push your opponents out. Have a confirm when you're trying to stop them.
Right.
So that's definitely a big weakness that he has.
Right. Like his standing light punch is excellent for punishing some -4 things because of the range. But yeah, whiffing on crouchers, and then you have his crouching light punch, which has just abysmal range. It has reused standing light punch range. That's his cancelable low, or, you know, light attack, and then his crouching light kick, I mean, you need counter hits to really convert from these things, you know? Yeah. Crouching medium kick is so slow and stubby.
10 frames.
Yeah, his crush counter, crouching fierce. I mean, standing fierce is very limited uses for a lot of these normals. They have very, very specific niche uses. And
yeah,
then,
like we said before, it's understandable why they would be slow if the zoning was also very strong, and it is to an extent.
Yeah,
you know, you get reset to that in that situation where you kind of have to use your normals instead of using your specials, because otherwise you would get jumped in on, and you know you're back into this vortex where you're basically vortexed by yourself. You know, like it kind of you put yourself in that bad situation, and that's, you know, counterproductive for a character that's supposed to zone you out.
Like, I watched some of these matches with Bonchan, and there's some times with Sagat where, like, when they get close, like, he completely shuts down everything. Like, he just sits there and waits, and only uses, like, standing light kick when he can, and, like, just waits, because it's just so dangerous to press any other button, because it's so slow, you know? Another thing, I think this is one of his biggest weaknesses right now that could definitely use some tuning, is his Tiger knees are way too slow. Way too slow, almost to the point where the move becoming useless, and they're very minus as well. It's just not used the same way it was before, but there's not really any use for it, and this is one way, if they tweak this, they can help Sagat with a lot of his weaknesses all at once, either for chasing opponents with life lead, helping him build space to help with his zoning, right? Tiger knee can help on so many things, help relieve pressure with his EX knee and stuff like that. We'll go through it more on the wish list, but his Tiger knees are just too slow, too minus, and yeah. And I guess this is really, like, you know, we're really going overboard here on his weaknesses, but I feel like his V-triggers are pretty weak, but I mean, I've seen worse V-triggers than what he has now. I've seen worse.
Yeah, for sure, but I mean, there's some inconsistencies, I guess, with some of them. A lot of people are using V-trigger 2, which it's 2 bars, so like a lot of people prefer it because it's 2 bars, but V-trigger 1 is 3 bars, and it doesn't really feel like a 3-bar V-trigger.
And it's the V-trigger I use too, Mir.
Yeah, except for like converting into it, which, you know, it follows the 3-bar V-triggers rules, right? Since you can convert off of fireballs and whatnot. But just the V-trigger itself feels, very weak.
Another thing too, I mean, I doubt Capcom's going to change the way they are, but I just feel like they're boring V-triggers in general too. They're both very similar. They both kind of have the same kind of use. And they're just really uninspired. I mean, come on, man. What? They show this new Tiger for Sagat. Why don't they just use that for his V-trigger? Like, send out his Tiger or something, man. I don't know. I really hate boring V-triggers. It bugs me. Because, like, they could do anything. Like, that's the main mechanic of the game. I know I'm getting a little off topic here, but it's the main mechanic of the game, man. You know? Come on. Tiger Cannon. Anyways. So, like I said, it sounds like we're talking about so many weaknesses. Like, oh man, Sagat must be bottom 5. He's got so many weaknesses. But it's just like, the thing is that his Tiger shot, like his fireball, are so good, right? And the ranges of all of his uppercuts, if you use them properly, even though they're not really rewarding, but if you use them properly, they're also extremely good, where Sagat can anti-air you literally from full screen away, if he wants to, right? Those two tools are so strong that they keep Sagat somewhere in the middle right now. That alone. So, even though with all these weaknesses, that's what I'm saying, like, it's just a really powerful zoner, right? In a game that's anti-zoning.
Yeah, it's just that his zoning is not very rewarding, like you said. So he has to correctly anti-air you or zone you out for you know, a really long time, as opposed to some other character can get in and make you guess 2 or 3 times and then you're dead. Yeah.
Okay, wishlist time. All right. So the first thing they could do is, well, let's start the Tiger uppercuts. Now there's 2 ways they can do this. Either one, just make the uppercuts have a little bit more damage and stun. That way it will reduce the amount of times in a row the opponent can jump on him, right? Or simply add more pushback. That way Sagat can zone for a little bit longer after he successfully anti-airs them, and it'll help his V-skill, because then he can get his V-skill out at that point as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, second thing is Capcom needs to look at his V skill. Like, what's up with his V skill, man? First off, it doesn't give him any V gauge on use, which is silly. Like, just him using the V skill doesn't give him any V gauge. It should, because once he has it, it doesn't have any other use until he uppercuts again, which is strange, right? So if the opponent's running away from Sagat, if I'm just gaining V gauge, at least with my V skill, there's something I can do. So that's a very easy fix. Another thing is that more practical ways for him to activate this, and like I said, uppercut, more range, more pushback would allow him to get the V skill. Just because most of the time you only get a V skill if you land an EX Tiger Shot, and then you have to give up Oki to do your V skill in the first place. And another thing too is like help with the juggle properties, because his V skill isn't as exciting because we rarely see opportunities for him to do it. The only time we have to really see it is if he just does a plain anti-air, because it busts up his uppercut. Corner combos, usually from a dizzy though, from a stun, or from an EX high Tiger Shot, which is very rare because the opponent has to be standing, right? If he was able to Kara uppercut from an EX low Tiger Shot, then his V skill will be a lot more meaningful. He have a lot more practical uses for it, honestly.
Yeah, and another way of, buffing it if you don't want to change the Oki on everything else is just to make it faster, like make it faster so that you can, have it more often, and then you can use, your empowered uppercuts to get the better knockdown and Oki. Because the empowered uppercuts actually do have, like, reasonable pushback so that you can, actually continue zoning from there instead of being at that awkward range that I was mentioning before.
You get put in this situation though, Mir, like when you land a Angry Scar uppercut, you push him back, but now your choice is, do I zone or do I pop another V skill, right?
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So like if it were faster, it would solve a lot of things.
For sure. I think there's some weird rounded number that Capcom has for these V skills though. It's like 22 frames or something, because Urian, Alex, and who else? They're all around the same exact frames for those kind of buff V skills, power up versions. Anyways, Tiger Knee, this is a big one. If there's any single thing I want them to buff, it's definitely Tiger Knee. Very simple, like I said. Make it faster, make them more plus on block. At the very least, make his EX Tiger Knee -2 on block from any range. At the very least. So then he can carry EX Tiger Knee to get in on the opponent, right? If they have a huge life lead on him. But in general, make him faster would be great as well. The heavy Tiger... Oh, it's just so slow, man. It's ridiculous.
Especially when they're so unsafe.
Yeah, for sure. And another thing, too, is even if you make the light or the medium Tiger Knee safe on block, or plus, like +1 or 2, Sagat is usually too far anyways to convert into anything besides, like, Light Punch Tiger Shot in the first place. It's not even a big deal. It's the heavy Tiger Knee or the EX ones that you really get a frame trap with.
Yeah, and he's so slow that he doesn't really have ways of opening you up, It's like it's a standing medium punch and then you're back to neutral.
Yeah. As for normals, either they can just make some of his normals a little faster, or keep the normals the same speed but raise the damage on them, because they're very low damage in general. They're in line with other characters, right?
I feel like there's some inconsistencies on the cancels too, because like crouching medium kick, it's good because it's cancelable even though it's so slow. But it doesn't combo reliably into things. So, like, just having more hit stun or, like more damage on normals so that your poking and your conversions would just benefit from it, right? Like that'd be a good solution, yeah.
Speaking of speed, his dash speed, bring it down a notch, man. I don't think any character should have 21 frame dashes unless they're like either Zangief, or even Dalsum has a 21 frame dash, but he's got to teleport, man. Both Falk and Sagat, their dash speed needs to be brought down. Bring it down to like 18 frames or something. Even that's slow, but it's usable offline. And then finally for his V triggers, I mean, I could just say an easy one would make his Tiger Cannon have 3 charges rather than 2. It's a 3-bar V trigger. I don't think that's much to ask. Right?
That seems reasonable.
It's the easiest way to buff it. It's the easiest way. So, quick disclaimer, guys. All these things we've added on this wish list for Sagat, I'm not saying to add all of this to him. If they did, it would make him very, very strong. But I'm just giving, some examples of things they can do to make the character more viable. Either a couple of these buffs. But don't forget, at the end of the day, right now, with the meta of Season 3, I mean, Sagat is still a zoner character that's mainly a zoner in a meta of anti-zoning, you know, and the game is designed around anti-zoning. Almost every character has anti-zoning tools, and all the good zoners have anti-zoning tools. So it just puts Sagat in a tough spot with a lot of bad matchups with a lot of the high-tier characters right now.
It's also important to note that all the good zoners also have decent rushdown, or even really good rushdown in certain cases.
Yeah,
so,
it's funny.
Like the fact that Sagat can just be put at such a big disadvantage by, you know, like just being comboed once. Like if you're behind and you don't have the life lead, yeah, like you said before, it's just so hard to come back, and that's one of his biggest weaknesses.
Right. So we'll see what Capcom does with Sagat in Season 4. Of course, we can't just look at it in a nutshell, or, you know, in a vacuum, I mean. We have to see what they're going to be doing with the other zoners and anti-zoners for Season 4, and then we'll see what kind of spots Sagat's in. Like I said, right now he's not in too rough of a spot, somewhere in the middle, I would agree with, but we'll see where he ends up next season, because I really want to see Bonchan, you know, compete in tournaments with him, and I really like watching Sagat, so yeah. Okay, let's wrap this up, Mir. Guys, let us know in the comments below, what do you guys think Sagat needs for Season 4? Is he already in a good spot, or would you guys think that he needs some additional tuning? Do us a solid, please subscribe to the channel, and we'll be doing some more wishlist videos running all the way up to Season 4. And, of course, like the video, it really helps out. And, yeah, Mir, thanks for joining me, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Till next time, guys. Take care.